FrugalTech here, and we want to talk about the top 10 mistakes that IT people make. Yes, it's true, we're fallible, and a recent article brought to my attention from one of my vendors, GFI, provided me with an article by David Vella, and I think it's really good advice, and sometimes we just get real busy with our jobs that, well, mistakes happen. And so I wanted to go over this list of this top 10 list, and it's not in any particular order. The opening of the letter, though, says whenever a security breach or something else goes wrong with the network, we typically will blame the end user. But sometimes we have to point the finger at ourselves. We have a heavy workload. We're in a small business, and well, sometimes the IT guy can be doing everything from fixing the network to fixing the coffee maker. So anyhow, I'm going to go over these top 10 list, and it's all basically good common sense. It's stuff we really know, but sometimes it doesn't hurt for a friendly reminder. Remember, mistakes can cost money. And that's what this show, our Frugal Technology show, is all about, and that's what we try to do here, making these videos, help you save money or make money with technology. Okay, so here we go. Number 1, connecting systems to the internet before hardening. That's right, sometimes we get busy and forget to make sure the antivirus and software is installed, and if we're using things like Windows Defender, it's not hooked up. We want to make sure that everything is all set to go before we hook that computer up to the internet. Number 2, connecting test systems to the internet with default account passwords. Yes, it's a hacker's dream to get a hold of those, and so make sure that we change the default passwords on the machines before we turn them loose to employees. And make sure we never ever give the employees administrator rights to the local machine. No reason for them to have them, folks, and they'd be hard-pressed to give you a convincing reason why. Number 3, failing to update the systems. Well, let's say we get the antivirus software and all that installed, but we didn't update the security patches. We didn't make sure everything was up to date before we connected that to the internet. Not good news. Don't want to make sure that happens. Number 4, failure to properly authenticate phone calls or authenticate callers. Excuse me. Basically, hey, I've worked for some large companies, and it was real easy for me to get my passwords changed by a trusting IT guy. They never asked me for who I was. They just took my name at face value and gave me my password right over the phone. Make sure that you got a policy in place for checking out those passwords and making sure that caller is indeed who they say they are. Number 5, failing to maintain and test backups. So true. I don't know how many times I've gotten a call from a customer in desperate, dire straits because they had a system down, a server down, and when the question came up, hey, maybe can we restore that from backup? Well, our backups didn't work. That's not a good position to be in. You want to make sure that you're testing those backups and making sure that they're being done in a timely fashion. Backups should be made often, and copies should be kept off-site. Common sense, we all know that, but sometimes we get busy and forget. Number 6, failure to confirm that your disaster recovery plan actually works. Okay, so you've backed up now, but do they work? Can you actually restore the system from your backups? Believe me, a disaster is the time you do not want to find out if that plan actually works. Number 7, failing to implement or update virus detection software. Up-to-date scanners ensure the latest malicious software is detected immediately. A regular virus scan on each machine is recommended. Now, we know this, but you'd be surprised on how often it doesn't happen or the updates aren't being applied regularly. I think this one is the biggest tip of all. Failing to educate the users. Users should be educated on the latest threats, how they get them, how they fall victim to viruses, spyware, phishing attacks, that sort of thing. Hey, educated users is going to be the biggest step in keeping a safe and secure network. Number 9, trying to do it all yourself. Let's face it, we can't be experts at all things, and especially in the smaller business, when you don't have a lot of help, sometimes it's better off to hire a professional IT person to come in and consult with you. Make sure that network and all the security is set up correctly the first time, rather than waiting for an expensive issue to come up that would require big money to fix. Believe me, if you've not paid a consultant to come in and clean a network up after a viral infection, it can be real expensive. And finally, Failing to recognize insider threats. Excuse me. Let's face it, I've done a show about this before, and I've got some videos about it. The number one threat to your network is unhappy, disgruntled employees. It's not the big bad hackers you read about on the news. It's the guy across the table from you. If they're unhappy or if they've got a reason to hold a grudge, your network and your data could be at risk. Finally, to wrap this up, the IT security scenario has changed. Until recently, the administrator of a small, medium-sized company was primarily concerned with viruses and spam. But today, we have to worry about compliance with things like mail archiving, Sarbanes-Oxley, HIPAA, all these sort of things. So not only are we worrying about the basics, but now we're worrying about compliance issues too. So the IT administrator gets a real double whammy on the burden there. Let's just keep these 10 little tips in mind. It can save you a whole lot of money. It can keep a disaster from happening from your network. Hey, I'm the FrugalTech, and we'll talk to you later.